So, and this idea applies to Buddhist worldviews too. I mean, do we think that all Buddhists agree on the Buddhist teachings even? Tune in next week, right, on the other interpretation, right? I mean, there are all these Buddhist worldviews, and there's a hierarchy to them. The Buddha taught these different worldviews and these different approaches, right? You know, people get into the lowest school of Buddhism, the Vaibhashika, and they're like, this is true, this is right, and all the other Buddhist teachings are incorrect and they're wrong, right? And then, then the Sautantrikas say, well, no, the Vaibhashikas are wrong, we're right. And the mind only says, no, they're both wrong and we're right. And then the Madhyamika Prasangika says, no, they're all wrong and we're right. And so...
Isn't that right?
I mean, I remember when I started with Buddhism, right? I started in Buddhism, it's like, well, what do you mean there's a Nyingma, and there's a Kagyu, and there's a Sakya, and there's a Gelugpa? Oh, I'm a Gelugpa. Well, obviously they're all wrong. I mean, if I'm right and they don't agree with me, they have to be wrong, right? I mean, it's just a normal way of thinking, right? It's like my camp, my faction, my ideas are right, and everybody who doesn't agree with me is wrong. Yeah. So, so the Prasangikas say that, the mind only, they say the mind only is crazy. You think that functioning things are self-existent. Prasangikas, the mind only say, Nagarjuna, you're a nihilist, they Tantra is crazy, you guys listen to music, you dance, all these other things, are you depraved, are you crazy? You're not supposed to listen to music, you're not supposed to dance. So, I mean, every group has got its thing, right? So, how are you going to become a god in this life? How are you going to become an angel in this life? How are you going to become enlightened in this life? Are you nuts? What are you thinking, right? So, and we're within Buddhism, right? So, you have to understand all the Buddhist schools, and you have to master all the Buddhist schools. Lord Buddha taught them all, right? And for good reason. So, we'll get into it in the next class. But the point is to understand the lower schools and move up through them, right? I mean, if His Holiness goes out to Central Park and talks about, kill your father, kill your mother, it's not going to go well, right? But you can do that if you're teaching a different kind of audience about the art of interpretation, right? So any teacher of any subject is going to modify their presentation according to the audience and according to the audience's ability to understand and benefit from what's said, right? And Buddhist teachings are no different, and Lord Buddha is no different. He's teaching one thing to ordained people over here. He's teaching another thing to uneducated farmers over there, and teaching another thing to the nobility over there, right? What's true? They're all useful. They're all true. They all serve a purpose. Some are higher than others. Some are higher teachings than others. Some are more advanced teachings than others, right? And so our goal and our job is to move up from the lowest to the highest teachings as quickly as possible and to not get stuck on any of them, right? We're sworn by our vows to move up through the ladder as fast as possible, right? To reach enlightenment as fast as possible, right? Drakpa Gyaltsen, who is the biggest Zogrimer of all time in Vajrayogini, says that you can't get attached to your current level of practice. You can't stall out at your current level of practice. You have to keep moving up, right? I mean, it's like if you practice anything, sports, you always practice against somebody who's better than you, so you can always be improving, right? You lift weights, you're always adding a little bit more weight every time, so you're always improving, right? So
that's what I feel like these classes are good for, like being with practitioners who are more more advanced.
Well, that's the only way to move forward, right? You have to hear things over and over and over again, and one's capacity increases and one's comprehension increases, and then hopefully one is able to then move up and move on to more advanced material, right? And more profound material. And that's absolutely the goal, right? That's certainly the goal. So, you see where people study at a certain level and then they kind of freeze or they stall out. It's like, okay, this is my practice and I do this practice and I'm comfortable with this and I'll just stay here, right? And that's not the point, right? You have to keep going. You have to try to push further and continue on, take a risk. And there's a risk, right? If you're really interested in saving humanity and ending all suffering, then you've got to take some chances, right? You got to step out, take a shot, and sometimes you fall down, right? Sometimes, and it's usually painful and it usually hurts and it's usually unpleasant, and then you keep going, right? But if you don't keep trying, you won't get better. So And the whole goal of our life is supposed to be to reach tantric enlightenment in this lifetime, right? And it's not going to happen by just sitting back and taking it easy and making a little bit of effort and cruising. So it's really a race against time, right? I mean, we're aging. In the ordinary sense, we're aging. Bodies are falling apart, right? Mind is becoming duller. They don't recruit Air Force pilots who are over 23 for a reason. Your mind's not as sharp, after you're 23. Your reflexes aren't as good, There's maybe a handful of guys in the NFL who are over 35, right? Maybe there's a few prima ballerinas who are over 35, right? It's all for a reason. It's not for no reason, right? The body deteriorates. The capacity deteriorates.
Our minds deteriorate at 23.
That's what the Air Force thinks. Not at church or peak whatever. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, reflexes, reactions, whatever it is. So everything else starts to degenerate. And so, we don't have time to sit at a certain level and to be stuck there, right? You've got to keep getting higher. And that is true of the worldviews. You have to keep releasing worldviews, going to a higher worldview, right? Get used to it. It's all part of the process, right? Go up through the 4 schools. And, as you're going up in your practice and as you're going up through the levels of your practice, you're going to be attacked. Guess who's attacking, the Madhyamika Prasangikas? The mind-only school are the most vicious critics. Guess who's attacking the mind-only school? The school below them. Every time you move up, the people who are one level back are going to viciously attack you.
It looks weird from that perspective.
Yeah. You're crazy. What are you doing? That's not what these teachings are.
Yeah.
You see it. I mean, see it with Geshe Michael, with Holy Geshe Michael, right? See it with other people, right? It's like you break out of one worldview, and then you're criticized. And so, how to break out of the worldview, right? How to get this infusion of new worldviews, right? You have to study. You have to study, authentic texts. And it's very important to be around holy teachers, accomplished holy teachers who can present highest worldviews and who can provide the repetition and reinforcement and ongoing explanation and, over and over and over again to help it sink into the dense wood, so that we can actually get it, right? And that's the only thing that can really do it, is our virtue and our being taught by people who know. Willingness to do good deeds, willingness to engage in bodhisattva activities, helping others. And it's very hard to break out of our worldview. It requires more karma than almost anything else to break out of old wrong worldviews. So, and there are thousands of them. I mean, we literally have thousands of wrong worldviews. So, got to actively go out and look for things to do to help people, right? And that pushes us over the threshold to the next thing. And there are a lot of thresholds to go over. So we've got to not be attached to these old worldviews. And so that's the first of the 4 attachments from Holy Jitsun Drapa Gyaltsen. And it's like, as I think about my wife, it's like, how can I see her differently? How can I relate to her differently? How should I be thinking about her? Like, she's pissing me off all the time, and she's like irritating me all the time, and I'm annoyed all the time. How can I think about her differently? How can I relate to her differently? How can I engage differently? Where is it coming from? Why is it happening? How can I feel differently? How can I position differently? Yeah, and I mean, it's just this constant thing, right? It's like, there's something wrong with her. There's something wrong with her. Something wrong with her. It's the same old problem over and over and over again. What's her problem? Wish she'd fix it. Why can't she get it together? Why can't she fix all those problems? And it's like, oh, wait a minute. Maybe it's me. Maybe I should be thinking about myself. Maybe I should be working on something in myself. Maybe I should be relating differently. Maybe I should be not thinking of some self-existent thing out there which is coming at me. And on and on and on and on and on, right? All of the things we've talked about in practical application, right? It's very hard to do. Oh. But that's the thing that helps push us over the threshold, is to really apply it and to really live it and to really do it. Is to get out of the mode that it's about what's over there and get into the mode of it's about what's over here. And how can I think about this differently? And how can I relate to this differently? And how can I think about the emptiness of this person, the lack of self-existence of my wife? You know, how should I think about my wife? How should I relate to my wife, right? Should I imagine that there's a blank screen there? Should I, I mean, it's the whole thing. I'm not going to repeat the whole conversation, but I mean, the very first Bodhisattva vow is kind of a reminder about this. It's kind of a sort of a sign that this has been going on for thousands of years, right? That maybe this is like a standard human issue, right? Don't praise yourself and put down other people. I'm great. What's wrong with my wife? I got no problem. She got a problem. I'm fine. She's not. Right? First Bodhisattva vow. I mean, in that context, in the context of the first Bodhisattva vow, they're talking about one Mahayana group doing it with another Mahayana group, right? Out of some kind of feeling of possessiveness or negativity or whatever. But same principle, right?
Unless you're running for president, then you can do it. So I had to do it.
You mean that self-existent person over there with the comb over? What's the karma to have that? I don't know.
I got asked that in class. Like, this person said, what is the karma that we all have to perceive that? I'm like, that's great, let's discuss it.
Oh man. So, all right. So, in Tibetan Buddhism, there are 4 different traditions, each of which is valid, each of which serves a different type of mind. I mean, you go to any religion, there's hundreds of Protestant groups. I don't know how many Baptists, I don't know how many, any group you can find. And it's not that all of them are wrong except one. Right? They all serve a purpose, right? Each one is perfect for a certain kind of disciple, and you've got to find the one that's right for you. We've got to find the ones that resonate with us, that work for us, right? And decide and pick one, right? Like, I had a great blessing to have been nourished by Holy Jesong Kappa and Ken Rinpoche and Geshe Michael and steady Gelugpa diet, and it's great for me, and it's fantastic, and it works, and it's very effective, and one can get enlightened that way. So, people come up and say, "Oh, how many initiations have you had?" Well, I've had 1 or 2, but I've had 20 or 10. It's like, pick one thing and do it. It's not useful to run around doing lots of different things in an unfocused way, right? Do one thing purely, and it's not because other traditions are wrong or there's only one right. It's that find the one that's most relevant for you. Find the one that's most effective for you, and pursue it vigorously and diligently and consistently, right? I mean, in some respects, we're very spoiled because we grew up with Holy Ken Rinpoche and Holy Geshe Michael's profound, clear teachings. So we've come from a lineage where we have the most profound, deep, and advanced Dharma available to us at our fingertips. And we think it's normal. And it's just like, oh, no big deal. And we take it for granted, right? We don't realize that the training that they've had is very rare, and that the information that they impart offhand is stuff you can't get anywhere else in the world, virtually, right? And we don't have any other frame of reference, and we don't know any difference. And it's like Holy Eva, she's doing her PhD in Tibetan Buddhism, and she's like, oh no, I read Tibetan and I speak Tibetan, and oh my God, I'm reading all these texts from the root lamas and the root lineages, and there's what Geshe Michael said, and then it's like text after text after text, year after year, and paying God knows how much money to say, oh yeah, that confirms what Geshe Michael said. And distill down into an easy synopsis and presentation, right? And it's very interesting to hear someone who's gone through the whole PhD program, become fluent in the language and doing dissertation and advanced topics, and it'd be like, yeah, it's all just what Geshe Michael said, It's like, and it was free and local. So anyway, all right. So, we can read the Kagyu Lojongs and the Sakya Lojongs and the Gelugpa Lojongs, and they're all beautiful. But if you don't have the right kind of teacher and the right kind of explanation of the Kagyu lineage, then you just get confused. The nature of the mind is nothing. The path itself has gone beyond, That's great, but what do I do with that, right? So you've got to have the teachings, the teacher, the lineage, and then just go with it, right? So what we received is the pure Buddhist teachings, Arya Nagarjuna, Master Chandrakirti, Dharmakirti, Master Shantideva, 100%, original text. no major part of the 18 courses weren't a direct transmission of the classics, and that's why this place is called the Asian Classics Institute. So there's nothing there that was made up by anybody, and every homework question and reading was 100% great masters of Buddhism all the way back to Philip Buddha, and there's really nothing else that we need to know. So, thank you.
Sashir Bhagir Shishir Metrotram Riral Shir Nindir Adi Sangre Shindir Nitevari Drogun Namda Shingha Jipasho Idam Viratnamanda Kamniyatayami Gawadi Yokum Sunam Yeshe Zogzokshin Sunam Yeshe Yajunwei Donga Guni Tovashok.
May we quickly come to realize bodhicitta and benefit every being in every realm, through every moment of every day, and collect every cause for the collection of merit and the collection of wisdom, Buddha's body and mind. Quickly in this very life.
Thank you.
Thank you. So next week,